So you want to write a book and become an author. Well, congratulations, because lots of people have an idea for a book, but only a few people actually sit down and take that idea for a book and turn it into reality. But if you want to become an author, there's one big mistake that you really need to avoid. Avoiding this mistake will help you dramatically increase your chances of becoming an author. And it's also a mistake that professional authors have long ago learned to overcome. And in this video, I'm going to share what that mistake is and what you can do to overcome it. Hi there, my name is Brian Collins and welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. So I've written a couple of books over the years, including The Power of Creativity and also a three-part series of books for writers called Become a Writer Today. And I've also interviewed dozens of New York Times best-selling authors for the Become a Writer Today podcast and channel. So you can go and check out those videos. And I've learned all about the writing processes that these professional authors use to write book after book after book. But to follow their process, there's one mistake you need to avoid. Let me explain what that is. But first, it's important to understand that writing a book isn't always easy. In fact, the famous British author George Orwell likened the book to a horrible, exhausting struggle that's a bit like a bout of a painful illness. And yes, writing a book can be difficult because it can take weeks, if not months, to write your book. Now, when I had an idea for this particular book that I wrote and self-published, which is called The Power of Creativity, at the time I was working a busy job as a copywriter for a British software company. So I thought I could work during the week at my job to pay the bills, because most authors, when they're starting off, have another job that they rely on and they're writing around the sides or the margins of the day. So I thought I could spend 3 or 4 hours writing on Saturday or on Sunday afternoon. But there was just one big problem with my approach to writing. I had 2 kids at the time, now I have 3 kids, and I also had just a busy family life. So I'd sit down to write on Saturday morning, and then something would invariably pop up with life, or I'd want to go for a run or meet friends or do something with the kids. So I'd miss the day's writing session. And then on Sunday, I'll be pretty tired from the week of work and from whatever I did on Saturday night. So an entire week would go by before I'd sit down and try to write my book again. The big mistake that I was making, and that many new authors make, is thinking that I would be able to sit down and write for 3 or 4 hours at the weekend and work on my book. Because when you attempt to write for 3 or 4 hours, it can be pretty exhausting. And if you haven't built up that writing muscle, it's just not going to be possible. And what's more, if you're only relying or you only have time for one of these writing sessions in any given week, then what are you going to do when you miss this particular writing session? Don't worry, because I'm going to give you 2 different solutions which you can use to find time for writing your first book, even if you have a job or a busy family life or other commitments. They're easy to apply, and they're also solutions that other successful professional authors have used. If you want to become an author and write your first book, what you need is a consistent writing routine. And your writing routine doesn't have to last for hours. You can have a writing routine that lasts 15 or even 30 minutes. I love hearing about authors' different routines for their creative projects. A couple of years ago, I got to hear Dan Brown speak in public about his books like The Da Vinci Code. Now, whatever you think about Dan Brown or his creative works, you can't deny that he's a successful thriller author who's able to ship what his fans want year after year. When I heard Dan Brown talk, he described how he gets up every morning at 4:30 a.m. Yes, 4:30 a.m. That's an insane time to get up to write a book. And when he hits a moment of writer's block, he dons a pair of gravity boots and hangs from the ceiling or hangs from a door frame in his house. That's a pretty insane writing routine. But what I took away from this is that Dan Brown is consistent in turning up in front of the blank page. And while he's a professional author, aspiring authors can learn a little bit about the value of writing every day, and also about having time to think about what it is they want to say in their books. Another famous writer is David Milch. David Milch has written screenplays and for television. He's the man behind TV shows like Deadwood. He also likes to get up at 4:30 a.m. to work on his screenplays, and he'd normally write in the shed at the back of his house, and sometimes he would give notes to an assistant to dictate for his screenplays and for his writings. Again, he's another example of somebody who put writing first before they went on with the busy demands of their day. Now, 4:30 a.m. sounds a little bit crazy for getting up and working on your book. Ask yourself, could you get up 30 or 60 minutes earlier? That could give you 30 or 60 minutes of free, uninterrupted time to work on your book before you go to work or bring the kids to school or attend to family life. And that's how I wrote The Power of Creativity. I spent an hour each morning before work working on this particular book. And because I was able to stack 5 different writing sessions per week that were an hour long, I was quickly able to make more progress on this book than by attempting to work for 3 or 4 hours on it at the weekend. Not convinced? Well, let me give you some quick math which will help you see how easy it is to write a book by spending just 15 or 30 minutes on it every day. So if you write for 15 or 30 minutes, chances are you're going to be able to produce 300 words. Sure, they might not be very good and you might have to rewrite them later on, but the job of the first draft is simply to exist. So task yourself with simply producing 300 words or writing for 15 or 30 minutes. Almost anybody can find time to do that, and 300 words is a pretty small amount in the grand scheme of things. Or is it? You see, here's the thing. If you write 300 words every day for 6 or 7 days a week, you're going to produce at a minimum 2,100 words. Now I say at a minimum because chances are one of those writing sessions will go a little bit better and you may hit 500 or 600 words for the day. That happens when you build up your writing muscle. And of course, if you do this for a couple of weeks, if you do this for a month, you'll have produced 8,000 to 10,000 words that you can use. And 8,000 to 10,000 words is enough for a relatively meaningful section in your book. And then if you do this for 3 or 4 months, you'll have 30,000 to 40,000 words, which could be a good first draft for your book. For context, most non-fiction books these days range around 50,000 words. Of course, if you're writing something that's a little bit longer, you will need to factor that in. But by turning up and writing 15 minutes a day, or by writing just 300 words a day, you will have a draft that you can send to your editor somewhere between 3 and 6 months. That doesn't seem too far away, and it's something that any writer, even if they have a busy job or family commitments or something else going on in their life, can find time for. So that's my challenge to you. Tomorrow, I want you to sit down at your writing desk, disable all notifications on your computer, perhaps put on a pair of noise-cancelling headphones or earphones or even earplugs, and write for 30 minutes, set a timer on your computer, or write until you hit 300 words. And then the following day, repeat this and continue repeating this until you've built up a consistent writing routine for your book. And I guarantee you will make meaningful progress that will help you reach the end a lot faster. There's another concept that I'd like you to embrace which will help you make meaningful progress on your first book. It's called little writing. What exactly is little writing? Well, it's finding space in the dead parts of the day that you can use to review what you wrote yesterday, or to just scratch out a few notes that you can use to make more progress. My favourite example of little writing comes from the British children's author Roald Dahl, who wrote books like Matilda, Boy and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. One day he was stuck in traffic on the motorway in his car. Of course, this was long before smartphones, and Roald Dahl thought of a breakthrough for a story that he was working on, but which he was also stuck on. He looked around his car and he couldn't find a notepad or a pen to write down this idea. And he was terrified, like any good professional writer, that he was going to lose inspiration for his story and he was going to be stuck with writer's block for a little bit longer. So what did Roald Dahl do? Well, he got out of his car in traffic, and of course I don't recommend this, and he went around to the dirty window in his car and he wrote down a single word. This was enough for Roald Dahl to remember the breakthrough for this particular story. And this particular story later became Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So how can you embrace little writing? Well, the next time you find yourself waiting to pick your kids up from school, or at the dentist or a doctor's appointment, or perhaps stuck in traffic on the bus or on a train or wherever, and when you normally go to pick up your phone and look at social media, instead open up the Notes app on your phone and jot down a few ideas for whatever it is you're writing or working on. Or alternatively, use your phone to open up the draft that you worked on this morning, or this morning's 300 words, or whatever you worked on yesterday, read through it, edit it and make corrections. There are lots of wasted moments in the day that you can easily use for little writing. And of course, after reading about, interviewing and listening to the writing routines of professional, successful authors, they use tricks like little writing and also having a consistent daily writing routine to ship their books and to give readers what they want, and they get paid well for doing it. Hope you enjoyed the content in this video all about the #1 mistake that aspiring authors must avoid. And of course, to summarise, that mistake is assuming that you can write your book for several hours at the weekend. Far better to turn up every day for a few minutes and to embrace little writing. Let me know how you get on with the tips from this video in the comments section below. And I'll also include some resources and a guide which will help you write your book a little bit faster. If you want to get more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now if you need me, I'm going to go buy a pair of gravity boots and hang from the ceiling just like Dan Brown.